Senator-elect for Ogun East Senatorial District on the platform of the All Progressives Congress APC and former governor of Ogun State, Gbenga Daniel, has said that with Senator Bola Tinubu taking over as the president, Nigeria as a country is out for a major turnaround. He insisted that Tinubu is the president of Nigeria, or as president of Nigeria, would perform against the backdrop that he has been around and he knows the right people to work with in delivering dividends of democracy to Nigerians. The former governor of Ogun State, as a major player in the new 10th Senate, is being courted by various camps jostling for the principal positions in the 10th Senate. Joining us now on the morning show to discuss expectations from Tinubu's presidency is Gbenga Daniel, Senator-elect for Ogun East Senatorial District in Ogun State and former governor of Ogun State. Good morning and welcome to the morning show, Gbenga Daniel.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
Thank you very much for coming.
Nice to be here.
Great to have you, sir. Now, we'll go straight in. You have, just a few days back, you granted, or you had a media parley where you talked about the fact that the president was best suited in terms of tackling some of the pressing issues facing Nigeria and Nigerians currently, especially in the area of the economy and security. I'll go first to his handling of the subsidy removal, which has come under, in some aspects, praises, in some instances, criticisms, especially with regards to the effect on the ordinary Nigerian. What's your view on how his announcement in his inaugural speech has impacted the lives of Nigerians following subsidy removal?
Thank you very much. First thing first, I don't think the president is to be blamed for that announcement. To the extent that, as you are probably aware, by virtue of the last budget, the subsidy is no longer there. And just a while ago, I was listening to Mele Kyari, who also clearly explained that budget is different from cash backing, that in truth and indeed, the budget says that there is support until the end of this month. But the fact of the case is that it's not cash backed. The budget is, yes, is law, it's an instrument. But of course, we all know that most of the time in this country, people hardly achieve even 50–60% of budgetary provisions. I think what the president has done is to, as it were, kick the ground running by saying clearly that we shouldn't expect anything in terms of continuous subsidy. The other thing that I want our people to appreciate is that everybody in the last God knows how many years have come to the conclusion that the subsidy was not sustainable. But nobody was bold enough, and even the outgoing president said, okay, to go after he has left. And somebody has come and said, let's stop deceiving ourselves. One thing that I have noticed, which many people have not spoken about, is that the biggest problem about the subsidy is that we're just not subsidizing Nigeria, we're subsidizing West Africa. And I do not see how it can be sustainable anyway. And if there are no ways, the borders are open, if there are no way of ensuring that the subsidy remains within the shore of Nigeria, which is also part of the problem of smuggling, then clearly we can't continue to subsidize the entire West African sub-region. We don't have such capacity. And I think Mele Kyari has also said that, let's put it this way, Nigeria is broke. Let's just be straightforward about it. I do not think that there is any magic. We expect the president who was just sworn in a few days ago. So he has just stated it the way it is. But I think the biggest issue is how to ameliorate the negative effects. Absolutely. And that is what we should just, advise, the presidency to find a way of addressing.
Do you have any advice?
I can't sit here and tell you which way or that way, but there are a couple of things that can be done. Power is key, and those of us who have had a opportunity to play in the private sector appreciate that without power, there is really nothing that can be done in this economy. So I would think that if power is subsidized, it's even better than subsidizing. What do I mean? Let's have power, and we can now decide the rate at which we want to sell a kilowatt of power. There are so many other ways in which definitely things can be done.
Well, Senator-elect, Your Excellency, Otumba Gbenga Daniel, it's so good to see you and to sit just right here with you. I'm happy you came on Arise News to have this conversation with us. So my question will be just in response to what you said to Aya just now. The president said the subsidy is gone. Now, a lot of people expected that something would have been done before the president came on and said it is gone. That does not seem to have been done. And there is concern that there was no pre-planning whatsoever. Nothing was put in place to prevent the situation that we had. The average man on the street, and Nigerians, even when you go to where people drink, they have ideas of what should be done in Nigeria. So it's not rocket science. They expected that there will be enough petrol in the tank, there will be enough in the tank farm, there will be enough across the board. The different regulatory agencies will be going around on the very day that the president has said this is gone and they will start work. So all of these things were not done. So the question I'll be asking is, do you think the president got it right in announcing it at the point that he did? And shouldn't something be done to ensure that this is dealt with very quickly?
I don't have any doubt that something will be done. But I still go back to what I have said earlier on. The president just said what was obvious. The National Assembly have already passed the law, and they said there will be no subsidy from June. So that's what the president just said. It is not incumbent on the president who is just assuming duty a few days ago. It is the job of the Mele Kyari's of this world. And I listened to him attentively trying to explain some of the challenges they've had. I think basically, I believe that the president was just being honest. And it is time, and the way I look at it is that whether he said it today or in 2 weeks or at the end of June, the same scenario will play out because of speculations. Once he said it, that does not mean that there is no fuel. But everybody will start looking at the replacement cost. So if the thing is truly going to happen, and I have this stock of fuel, if I go back, I won't be able to get it in what I got it before. So let me quickly raise it to that price. It is an interregnum. Whether it happened at the end of May or at the end of June, this scenario will still play out. It's just mere speculations by people who either have the fuel, thinking of how to replace and stuff like that. Quite honestly, I still have not seen what the president have done wrong in this particular instance.
What people are saying he should have planned. So example, for instance, is it after he made that announcement that he should be talking to Labour? Because Labour now, as we speak, they had a deadlock meeting yesterday. Labour has its own position. Shouldn't he have talked to Labour? Didn't he have a transition committee? Shouldn't he have spoken to Labour before now in such a way that, to placate them and listen to their demands
there is no
before this happens?
Labour leader will sit with him and there will not be a disagreement. This table will still happen. Because the whole essence of Labour leadership is to look at the masses of the people. And if I was a Labour leader and you are the new president and you come into a meeting and I go out and say that I've agreed, that means I've sold out. You must understand, the position and the psychology of Labour leadership. The very first you say no.
But should it have been after? Shouldn't this conversation have happened? Because Labour claimed that they told them that they are not pulling subsidy in like a year's time. They heard no position. The new administration didn't call them. And now they feel ambushed. That's what they were saying. In fact, the words of Festus Osifo, head of TUC yesterday, and what's it called, Ajo Ajero, that you cannot have taken a decision behind us. And now you're calling us to do what? To formalize what? That's what Labour is saying. Is it not a reflection of the ill planning of this system? Don't get me wrong, all of us want subsidy gone.
Exactly. I don't still agree. Because I keep saying that a law has been made at the National Assembly. So it's not just the president just waking up and saying unilaterally, no, it's just that when the National Assembly made this law, we were not very, very, sensitive to it. At the point when that has happened is when this coalition should have started. And we should have been fighting what we needed to fight. They might just say, look, I want to kick the ground running. Nobody has been bold enough to say this. We don't have money. There's no way to sustain it. Let us tell Nigerians this is where we are. Let us just be straightforward with our people for a change. And then we begin to take on the challenges as they come. That's really what I think. And I think, yes.
Yari or Akpabio, where do you stand? Leadership of 2020.
Oh, that's tough because, you know, first thing first, I am, as you are, you know, I'm the Ashwaju of Remo Christians. And we've had a lot of battle defending the Muslim ticket for starters. And now it doesn't really matter where it comes from. But I think what is important is that our people want us to put a Christian. You know, that's how it is. But on the other side of the road, and I want you to be very careful in perjuring me in this particular matter, they are my colleagues. They are very competent people. And I just wish that this country has gotten to a stage where these primordial sentiments are no longer there. But more than anything else, it's going to be a secret ballot. And I'm not going to vote here. I'm going to vote secretly.
That's good. One man, one vote.
And let me also say this. This is just a struggle for power and positioning. All these people are the same. They are friends. It is in the media like this you think there is war. I have talked to virtually all of them. They eat together, they drink together, they smile together, they go to places together, they shake their hands. And there's going to be a day after the 13th of June. You'll be shocked. So I don't think that we should put too much pressure, you know, or raise the temperature unduly over this matter. Let me say something to you. At a certain level, these things don't matter. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. That's my position.
Okay. Well, thank you for stating your position without stating your position. Well, let me talk about your expectations from the president. In previous interviews, you have expressed very high hopes for his ability to be innovative, to tackle some of the biggest issues that are facing Nigeria currently. You talk about uniting Nigeria. You talk about security challenges, and you're confident that President Tinubu has what it takes to decisively deal with these issues. I want us to start first of all with uniting Nigeria. Yesterday we had Mr. Olisa Agbakuba on the show, and he spoke to these matters. But I'd like to get from your view in terms of how the president can begin to unite the nation and also deal with security challenges.
Well, first thing first, the reason why I feel the President Tinubu have such capacities, among other things, is because that he's been around for some time. If I remember, I met him when he wanted to run for Senate there about 1991. During that, you know, I think that's probably how many years now, and consistently he has remained active. And of course, in the last few years, he has also virtually become a national figure of some sort. And if there is one person or one of the few people that I think duly understand the problem of Nigeria, he's Bola Ahmed Tinubu as an active politician. You know, from that perspective, I don't expect anything less from him. And from the rumor mills that we're already getting, I've had all sorts of meetings that have gone out of his way to look at people who have fundamental differences to the polity. I've heard about meeting with Radical Kwakwaso. You all know how Kano politics is. And I've had quite a number of things that are going on, and I won't be shocked if at the end of the day, in terms of formulation of his cabinet, you see that rainbow coalition of sorts, which is actually aimed at uniting the polity. But I also want us to say that poverty has no color. If he gets his economic parameters right, and we are in a position to provide jobs for our people, that really is the key. You'll find out that everybody will get busy. One of the things that have excited me is a few weeks ago when I heard that oil is now being explored in commercial quantity in certain parts of the north. Because either a number of people feel that, oh, this is where the wealth is, and to that extent we have rights which are not being duly accorded to us. If we do have a country as we do have today, where virtually everywhere have something to put on the table, this issue of taking the resource from here to develop here, which has been part of the problem that has continued to unite us, the reason for all the agitations we're having in the south-south to the southeast, if we're able to remove that by economic planning, to some extent, you just find that the temperature is going down. My own feeling really is that all this hula baloo is about economic emancipation. Either from the angle of the young people, from the women, it's all about economy. And I think that if there is somebody who can get the economy right today, it's probably Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay, let me jump quickly because we have very little time. Let me jump to the Senate.
Little time? I thought you were going to harass me well today.
We don't have all the time. The show will end at the usual time. So let me ask you, number one, the first question that a lot of Nigerians, and I engage with Nigerians, especially the young ones online, and the question that they've been asking is, oh, you have the former governor of Ogun State who's now senator-elect, and there are so many other former governors who have become senator-elect, and some of them are already there as senators, and they're going back for second term. They're asking the question, why do you and all your colleagues who have been governors, why do they want to go to the Senate? What is it they did in government before that make them to want to still continue in government? That's one. And then the second one is the issue of salaries and bonuses and benefits that is accrual to those who become members of the National Assembly. There is this concern that the amount of money budgeted for the National Assembly, do you think it should be reduced in considering the level of poverty of a lot of Nigerians, 130 million by some people, possibly over 100 million poverty-stricken Nigerians, and the National Assembly is still having budget that is massive?
Well, first, on the issue of governors wanting to go into the National Assembly, you can probably say that I'm a kind of exception. I left governance 12 years ago, and in a lot of those 12 years, even though I wasn't particularly absent in the polity, I've done some other things with my business and so on and so forth. But sometimes it's about you sitting down and saying, what has happened? And do you want to carry all this experience to the grave, or you still want to try to offer something? That's for me what really it is. Now, coming about what is being the allowances in the National Assembly, I must confess to you, I was one of the people who feel that whatever it is, it should be scaled down. But let us also be careful. Whereas the primary duty of the National Assembly is to go and make laws, amend laws for the general good of the people, but the expectation of the people down there are completely different. These days, they now begin to evaluate National Assembly members in terms of the project they bring home, what they have been able to, how many people they've been able to employ, how many people have they been able to privately support, how many people have they been able to give scholarship to. Partly that is because the way it is, the executive, in all their energy, have not been able to touch the grassroots to a large extent. So to the ordinary man on the streets, okay, this one is governor, okay, he's doing 10 things. You are a senator. If you can't do 10, why don't you do 3 or 4? So what I have found out in my interaction with my colleagues is that to a very large extent, these so-called humongous bonuses and salaries that are getting, they are not the ones spending it. Okay. A large number of that goes back to the constituency, okay, where some of them are awarding scholarship, Medicare, all sorts of things are going on. So except and when we're able to tailor this situation correctly, I really do not think that what we're talking about holds so much water. Yes?
2 quick fire questions. Number one, you're leader of the Remo Christians. In a scenario where Mr. Yari emerged Senate President, you have the President, the Vice President, and the Senate President all Muslims. What will that mean to you? Secondly, what's your relationship with Governor Dakwa Abiodun as we speak today?
First, I've spoken about a religious factor. If I have my way, I would like to see a lot of balancing going on there. But again, there are so many other factors. I don't want to begin to waste your time because I also listen to what are the issues. At the end of the day, what you are looking for is a stable polity in all ramifications, and I just want to leave it at that. It's my governor. There is nothing unusual about our relationship.
Your friendship and your alliances with people like Mr. Amosun and co.
No,
in the last elections.
I think a number of people got it all wrong.
Are you sure you're in good terms?
With my governor?
Yeah.
Did he tell you otherwise?
No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking because of those alliances, and you know where he is with Amosu now.
Look, Amosu has not been my friend. He was one of the people who actually harassed me when I was out of government.
But you formed an alliance with him.
It wasn't an alliance, but at a stage, you begin to sit back and you say, what is it all about? I then came to the conclusion that there's no need for all these wars.
So you said it's not your friend, but he's your friend now. Amosu is your friend now.
I've resolved issues with everybody. Listen to me. When Kashaman was alive, he publicly said that he spent 3 billion naira to destabilize my government. What for? There are no personal issues. At the end of the day, I was happy. God saved his soul. I resolved with him before he died. So and that is what I've done with everybody. Amosu, Oshoba. The same thing with Oshoba. I defeated Oshoba in 2003. And you know how it is, how strong and powerful Oshoba was as a governor. For a rookie like me to come from nowhere and take him out massively, it was war. And for the last few years, it was war. We just managed things. But at one point I sat down and said, what is this all about? What am I fighting for? No more wars. So Oshoba, what's the problem? You want to lead the party? You are the leader. Amosu, what's the wahala? No problems. You've done your wars. You've taken me to FCC. God has delivered me. No more wars. Therefore, you are most welcome. He used to be Amosu's best friend. Now Amosu turned against him and he came to me for support. Okay, no more wars. I support you.
So you feel that Kwabena is cool with your new alliance and relationship with Amosu and all of that?
No, he cannot. And because let me tell you this, I don't know as a matter of fact that he's looking for ways of resolving with him as well. So why do you want me to be fighting the person that I know I'm aware from my vantage position that if there is an opportunity to sit the two of you down to resolve, you are ready to resolve? Why should I fight him?
So that Kwabena is ready to resolve with Amosu now?
I'm telling you that from my vantage position, I'm aware. Don't forget, I'm also another statesman in Ogun State today. And there's nothing that is going on in any corner that I'm not aware of. So the point I'm trying to make is that you get to a stage in life and you begin to ask yourself, have I taken their wives or girlfriend? No. Have I stolen public funds? No. About ego, you are bigger, you have great potential, let me cut you down, all of that. I've gone beyond it. And I've come to the conclusion that where God wants to take you, will take you, notwithstanding whatever anybody say. So my position, and I also had to do that because I came into the party. And I felt that, look, part of the challenge we must have here is that we must not allow these little things to destroy the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to install the president. So if there are issues, those ones are small issues. And it's inevitable. You know, somebody who is governor, he wants to show that he's governor, fine. You know, but you can't also take away my contribution to the state. So I'm standing where I am. Yeah. But I'm not going to personalize.
Okay, thank you so much.
Are you happy now?
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you for your time. So that's all we can take with Gbenga Daniel.